and welcome to Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. I am Umaru Sanda Amadu. Today we'll be talking a lot of law and also do some politics because, of course, you've heard the issue of Nolle prosequi. Do you even know how to pronounce it? I'm sure people are pronouncing it in their own way. That is a big issue that we are looking at. We also look at the prosecutions that are happening. So dropping prosecutions and starting prosecutions. Those are the two things we're looking at from the Office of Special Prosecutor, the Attorney General, the IOCO in this new administration. We'll speak to a lawyer who is also a politician to see how his party, and for that matter, lawyers from his side, intend to deal with these matters. Stay with us. I'll introduce him when we come back. In the year 2016, my guest was elected Member of Parliament for the Timpani constituency in the Upper East region. He lost that seat, though, in 2020, and he also did not remain in government. He was Deputy Attorney General. He and one other person were deputies to the then Gloria Akufo Attorney General in the first term of the Akufo-Addo administration. After 4 years serving as Deputy Minister of Justice and Deputy Attorney General, he's gone on to set up his own chambers and continue doing his private practice, where he's representing one of the politically exposed persons standing trial, the former NPA boss, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid. Now, my guest, I'm not sure whether he plans to go back to Parliament or wants to do more politics again, or just wants to do law. Joseph Dindiok Kpemka is my guest. You're welcome to Face to Face.
Thank you, Umaru.
How are you?
I'm good, by grace.
How are my people in your constituency doing?
Very well. My uncles.
Yes, you are.
I call them my uncles.
Yes.
And they are doing very well.
Do they do a lot of cattle business like I see down south here?
Definitely. It's one of the mainstay of the people of my area. In fact, as I've indicated time and again, farming and then rearing are the mainstay of the people of my area. Cattle rearing, sheep, goats, etc. And then you have the cash crop onion, which is one of the major crops that we actually cultivate in the area.
But you have water, a lot of water for onions?
We have a few dams.
Okay.
Then the addition that was made, the One Village, One Dam, we had a number of the smaller dams that were dug during that era have actually helped a lot of farmers in cultivating onion during the dry season particularly.
I see.
So I will say by and large that yes, the mainstay of the people of the area is agric.
I've never been to Timpani before. I've been to Garu though. I look forward to going to
It's
Timpani.
a very interesting one. There's no way you be to Garu without knowing Timpani.
Well,
because the geography is interesting.
So I came from Nakpanduri. Is it possible that I could enter Garu without going through?
All right. So if you came from Nakpanduri, it means that you actually
entered from the mountain.
You entered Garu without entering Timpani. But if you came through Boku, one of the parts you will get into Timpani, and then you enter into Garu. So it's very interesting. So you are they are like twin towns, actually. Are you?
So you are to the right. Do you border Sankansi in Togo?
Yes, please. We share boundary with Togo. And we share boundary with Pusiga. And then we share boundary with Garu. And we share boundary also with Nakpanduri
so
area.
northeast.
Yes.
So you are in the middle there.
Yeah, we're in the middle.
Hope we are seeing development, progress. Things are going well. Because you lost the seat, so I'm not sure.
I lost the seat, and I indicated to you once upon a time that for me, I believe in you going to the place to actually see for yourself whatever is on the ground, rather than trumpeting and blowing my own trumpet and etc. Because the infrastructure that I engage in, be it education, health, road infrastructure, electrification, etc., they've been unmatched. There's no dispute about it. And you can go to the area now and ask anybody. It will be confirmed to you without hesitation at all.
So you left in 2020. But in 2020, your side, MPP, moved from 169 seats to 137. It was seen as a big blow. But what happened in 2024, I'm not sure what kind of blow that is. When you saw election results coming through 2024, and seeing that you have lost the whole Upper East, lost the whole Upper West, and then you split the Northeast into two, you split the Northern region. Actually, I didn't even split the Northern region. I think NDC did way better in Northern region. Savannah, you split it. And then Western, North, all these places, it was just green. Everywhere was becoming green. What was going through your mind when you watched the election results?
Well, first of all, I knew by 10 p.m. that we had lost the election. Because if you look at...
On December 7th?
Yes, on December 7th. Because if you look at 2016, by 7 p.m., the report were at 8 p.m., 9, the report we're getting from IT wizard, Anoche, was very clear that we're leading. In the same way, 2020, by 8, 9 p.m., the report we're getting online from his office indicated that we're leading. But this time around, it was very silent and sad. So we knew by 11, 12 that things were not going well for us at all. It was a tsunami, and it was a national one that hit us hard. And the circumstances that led to that are very clear and obvious, local and international. A lot of factors played a role in it. And as I've repeatedly said, if elections were to be conducted today again, I am very convinced that the performance that we recorded will improve upon it tremendously.
Really? Are you sure?
I'm very convinced.
Because of what? Because people have seen what?
You see, I want to state that at a point in time, people thought that when a change of government comes and MPP is out of office, probably their taps were going to flow with milk and honey. But that hasn't happened. And let me indicate this to you. We're just 7 months into the government of Mahama. Of course, he has recorded a number of positives and etc. But I can tell you that the fundamental thing that took us out, which is bread and butter, the rural area and the urban centers and etc., very little changes have actually happened. You may have indicators that have been positive, agreed. You may have indicators that have actually risen, agreed. But the fundamental thing about the cost of food, if under MPP we bought Kpemka at a certain price, the question today is it better? Are we buying it at a cheaper cost? Or we are maintaining it, or is going higher and etc. And the basic and fundamental needs of the people are the things that they use to judge you. You can go and talk about any economic indicators, macro and microeconomic indicators. That one will not affect directly the poor person or the ordinary person on the streets. What they want is when they get up daily, they are able to get their daily bread without so much hassle. And that's what actually measures the performance of each party. And let me tell you, if you look at fertilizer, the rural area, from where I come and all that, is one of the very fundamental things that the people need to help themselves in agri. Go and find out how much is the price of fertilizer at the rural periphery now, whether they can afford it. There's no subsidy, as far as I know, as it used to happen under the previous government, particularly the first 4 years, where fertilizer was subsidized and became the topic of smuggling across the borders and etc. When the people are able to get that and they do well in agri, then it translates into the mainstay economy. But I think that that aspect of it is missing for now and is going to play a leading role in the rural periphery as to how they perceive government and government policies.
But is it not too early? Things are reducing, the cost of prices are reducing, some are remaining where they are. There's lots of goodwill. Are you really sure about this, your position that you may win? I
said it, and I'm not hesitating at all, that if elections were conducted today, MPP will do better than we did in 2024.
Despite all the positives you are seeing?
You see, as I've indicated, the positives...
But there hasn't been any major scandal yet.
I've indicated that it will be hypocritical for me to sit here and say there are no positives recorded by this government. I don't belong to that class of politicians. But I'm saying that how that translates into affecting the daily lives of the people, as far as bread and butter are concerned, is the fundamental thing that will measure your success if an election is conducted. But as for the indicators, they can always be as good as anything. You can talk about inflation, for example, coming to 13% from a previous 23% and all that. You can talk about other indicators and etc. that are positive. But I'm saying that the fundamental thing is how those ones will translate into affecting the daily lives of the people as far as bread and butter are concerned. That's how it is measured out there. If you look at the New Patriotic Party, we lost because at that time, clearly we had issues And you know that a lot of things happened, decisions were taken by government at the time that should not have been taken. That made government unpopular, and quite a number of supporters of our party did not come out to cast their votes. So yes, you know from 92 that incumbent governments in their second term have never had the number of votes they got in the first term. No incumbent government has ever gotten that. And I don't think that any government is about to change that at all, because you are going to step on a lot of toes when you take decisions. And apart from those ones, you are going to, affect the lives of certain people with your decisions for the worse. So all those things will culminate in a number of issues that will rise up against you.
I ask this question a lot to people from your party. So it means you were in a Titanic, you were headed for the iceberg. Did you not advise the captain to stay away, stay clear of the iceberg?
Well,
or the captain was not listening?
Well, I do not want to say the captain was not listening, but it was a conspiracy of a lot of factors that worked against the party and government. When I talk about conspiracy of a lot of factors, I indicated at the beginning that there were circumstances where factors beyond the control of government, influenced and actuated by international influence, played a lead role. And that's why it has become, sometimes people mention it for purposes of fun, that everything that we said, we talked about Russia, Ukraine. We also spoke about the effect of COVID. Mm-hmm. But I keep on also reminding and repeating to people that if you take out these events and when they occurred and struck our economy and then review it on the basis of what happened prior to their occurrence, then you come to the conclusion that the argument we have made all along was valid. Because we are not living in an island of our own, in a society of a utopian nature that we've created in our minds that we live and worship. But we are living in a real life situation, and economic indicators and all that, wealth, economic factors, internal factors, all play a role. You know, I have heard His Excellency the President, current, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, state a number of times that COVID in fact affected our economy. He stated also the Russia-Ukraine situation. So there are admissions. I have known that there are even admissions by a number of government officials that indeed these events affected us. But at the time when we were espousing this, said that it could not be true, and that our own comments in the past indicated that that could not be true and all that. But the reality is that it did affect the economy, and when those factors strike you and you don't take care, there will be like a tsunami that will sweep you away. And I just want to let the current government know that whatever positives they are chalking now, go back and look at the New Patriotic Party, the first year, the first 6 months, and the performance of the CD and the other economic indicators. When there is a change of government, that goodwill on the part of local and international community is heightened, and it translates into affecting the economic indicators. And that's what we are seeing. But when government begins to roll out major policies and begin to make payments of monies that are of significant in nature, you are going to come to a conclusion without hesitation that certain indications will get distorted. There's no doubt about it. Because now we are not paying contractors.
Are you predicting doom, or you are praying for doom?
I don't pray for it at all. Because if it does strike, I'll be part of it. I don't pray for it. For me, my prayer is that every government that comes to power should succeed and we build a better nation. I don't pray for any government to fail. Okay. But inevitably, you would have those problems, and failure will occur because of reality that you face, that you will not be able to address.
We have seen parties lose elections and come back, but the magnitude by which you lost is making people say you're going to stay in opposition for 40 years and so on. Are you sure you can come back strong? Because you have been diminished in parliament, and at the presidential level is nothing to write home about.
Agreed. But let me talk to you about this. In 2016, the level of victory that was chalked by the New Patriotic Party had not been heard of in the history of Ghana.
It was unprecedented.
Absolutely.
1 million votes.
Over 1 million votes difference.
169.
So even if you watch the narrative on the part of members of the New Patriotic Party, it was unanimous that NDC was going to be in opposition for a very long time. That was the chorus. And then we came to 2024, and we diminished from 167 to 137.
2020.
And then, 2020 rather. And then in 2024, we came from 137 to 88. What does that tell you?
87.
That anything is possible. Initially 88 and later 87. Anything is possible, I mean, in politics. And the NDC and their declarations they are making, for me, is just a matter of tickling yourself and laughing, because events will show whether you'll be able to live in there for 40 years and whether any Ghanaian would like to give the thumb to you to live there for 40 years. Remember that without mentioning names, people have begun making certain basic mistakes and commentary. And sometimes people get angry over even attitudes of government appointees, being snobbish, being arrogant, being pompous, being boastful, and all that. And sometimes even just the mere presence of a motorcade will annoy somebody. And they are lording it over us and all that. So when you are in government, the negatives are actually weighing so much against you. So when you are in opposition, all that you do is to criticize. And that is why there were so many voices who are now in government who have gone into quintessential silence as a result of the fact that it is not good manners to speak when you are eating. I mean, so some of the people, really, when issues come up and you play back the tapes of those people, you just ask yourself whether they intended the good of Ghana or it was just for the purposes of looking for power. I'll give you an example. Do you remember the LGBTQ? The advocates.
LGBTQ.
Yes. Do you remember those who were the strong advocates? In fact, they spoke as if the world was coming to an end the following day. Today, we don't hear them again.
Your problem as a party is not really, the biggest problem is not winning elections. The biggest problem is uniting so that you don't implode. There is a view that you are on the verge of implosion, and that your flag bearership contest and all the other contests that will come up is going to further deepen and destroy your party. Have you got a candidate? Do you think that you can come out successfully?
Well, I will say without hesitation that we've been in situations like this before, and we've been able to come out successfully. And we are in that situation again, we shall come out successfully. I refer you to 1997 in Legon. It was not easy. The pressure, the tension was at its peak. The way situations were handled were almost at a near implosion of the party, but we came out of Legon very strong. And we moved from there, and eventually we won in 2016. So I think that when there's a contest of ideas, I mean, you hear all sorts of things, but after the election, steps will be taken. And remember, there's one thing I want to commend the wisdom of my party for going for early primaries.
Or you agree with early primaries?
Yes, the reason is that, you see, if there is anything that affected us apart from the other indicators I spoke about, it was our late presidential primary. Because after the presidential primary, there was no time to go around and do reconciliation. And you know that there are people who naturally are temperamental, they are quick-tempered, they are easy to go angry, and etc., and they are very difficult to control. But if you do presidential primary 3 clear years to elections, you have the opportunity to mend the walls, talk to one another, speak to each other, and appeal to the conscience of one another. And no matter how your temperature is boiling, I believe 3 years is enough time for it to cool and calm, for you to compose yourself and join the chorus for us to win. So those who have advocated that we have early primaries, I believe that it was as a result of their thought of the laborious process we go through to reconcile factions and parties prior to elections. And I think that 3 years is such a long time that we can heal wounds to be able to fight the battle. So I support it, and I support it because it is in the interest of the party. As you've rightly pointed out, I mean, there are boiling points here and there, individual interests here and there. People are making utterances, and that is why I always say that we should be extremely careful with the utterances we make, because those tapes will be played by NDC.
Against
when we elect one person eventually. The tapes will be played by NDC, and NDC will use those tapes particularly against us eventually. So we have to be careful, all the presidential candidates. And I appeal to them. I appeal to His Excellency, the former Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I'm appealing to my elder brother, senior in Parliament, the Honorable Kennedy Akumprekwa Japan. I'm appealing to Brian Achampong, my very good friend. I'm appealing to Patrick Buama, I'm appealing to my friend Kwabene J. Ajepong, all of them fine gentlemen. But in the end, they should remember that one person will be elected. And when that one person is elected, he will need everybody on board to prosecute a robust campaign that can actually turn the tides and give us victory in 2028. Otherwise, we are not looking for just a presidential candidate. We must look for victory. And I think that the clamor for victory should be the clarion call of all, so that we put our shoulders to the wheel and ensure that we drive the car successfully to the destination. I am convinced that 2028 will not be an election that the NDC will find it easy. I am very much convinced.
Who is your money on? Who are you supporting?
Well, I want to state to you without equivocation that you've taken me by surprise by throwing me this question.
And I'm happy. So
but I would like you to confer with me after this. Then I'll let you know.
But let me know. I mean, people are declaring.
I have indicated
former ministers are declaring. MPs are declaring.
Don't you worry at all.
Commoners are declaring.
For good reasons.
We are waiting for
good reasons. Don't worry at all.
Don't
worry. I don't worry. Don't you worry at all. For good reasons.
So you won't tell me now.
I won't tell you. But I'll tell you subsequently. So
tell me this one though. There is a view about our democracy and the stage we have got into, where in 2016, the Ghanaian citizenry thought that the NDC was a bad party. They were uprooted and you were brought in. And then 8 years on, you have also been uprooted with a bulldozer. Now we have Mahama back. Where is our democracy headed? What do you think is the trust, the public trust and the citizens' trust in our governance system moving forward?
Well, I am one person who is of the belief that to build our nation, we need to have, from time to time, changes in governance to ensure that nobody holds the country as his personal property. That is very important and fundamental for us to compare notes and see which government has made progress and which one has retrogressed. Remember that if you look at the immediate past government, if you look at the progress of work only for Agenda 111. If the government had completed all these projects, I think that it would have been the single most important health intervention in the history of Ghana. No dispute about it. I don't think any government has embarked into any such ambitious project since Nkrumah, or even in Nkrumah's time, we never had or witnessed any such ambitious project in the health sector. Look also closely at the free senior high, its implementation and the massive infrastructure that was launched by the Get Fund Administrator and His Excellency the President, the tracking of the massive infrastructure and investment in education. Look closely at it. Look closely at the road construction sector, the investment that was made in 8 years by the new Patriotic Party. And look closely also at extension of rural electrification and provision of water.
What's your point?
You come to the conclusion that it was massive. But why did we lose? Is it just only this 8-year cycle, or the mind by Ghanaians that if we allow one government to be there for a longer period, it is likely to create certain things to us that we are not going to be happy in the long term, so 8 years, let them go. And look at it carefully. From Rawlings, with his percentages up in the skies, His Excellency, former President Kufuor, managed to overturn that. And what happened? He won the elections in 2000, formed government, improved upon it in 2008, and then in 2004 rather. And then in 2008, we lost narrowly. You know, it means that the 8-year cycle is something that is really imbibed by Ghanaians, and it has become like a convention. So,
which means that you have to wait for 2032 as a party.
That I don't agree.
But
I'm just coming that
drawn up the convention.
I'm talking about the history.
Yes, which we are relying on to forecast the future.
But let me tell you something. If you look at happenings in 2020, you realize that may not entirely be the case. Because if you look at 2020, the NDC's leap almost took us by surprise. And I've envisaged that that can happen in 2028.
Okay. This is Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. I'm Umaru Sanda Amadu. My guest is the Honorable Joseph Kpemka. He's former Deputy Attorney General, which means he's a lawyer. When we come back, we'll now talk about some legal matters. The Attorney General has filed Nolle prosequi in the case against Dr. Kwabena Dufo. The MPP is not happy. They said he should come and explain why he did what he did, even though he's not really obligated to explain under the Constitution. And then Joseph Kpemka himself is also representing Mustafa Hamid. We'll talk about how that case is moving in court and other matters. Please stay with us.
Drowning in deadlines, data running wild. Let's fix this together. Join the evolution. Join the sharpest minds in HR at the HR Connect Conference 2025 on August 8th at the Marvin Peak Hotel, Accra. Under the theme, Empowering HR Excellence, Leveraging Data, Resilience, and Wellness for a Thriving Workplace. It's not just another conference. It's strategy, tech, wellness, and a few smart laughs too. Panels, keynotes, real talk, and real solutions. Let's lead, connect, and transform the way we work. For further inquiries and bookings, please call on 0541 222 365 to secure your seat. HR Connect Conference 2025. Lead, connect, transform.
Welcome back. This Face-to-Face on Channel 1 Television. My guest is Joseph Kpemka. He's a lawyer. Some nearly 20 years ago when you became a lawyer, at the time admissions weren't a big issue. Not so many people would go and write that exams and go to the law school. I think it was just a few faculties or few universities that were offering.
In fact, 2 faculties.
So it was KNUST
yes.
and
that was the first batch of KNUST.
And Legon. When you became a lawyer. Yeah. Today, though, we have so many faculties and admissions into the Ghana
At the time
school.
I was leaving the General Legal Council, there were about 15 or so across the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it has increased. Now, when you were called, I'm sure you were around 100 or a little over 100.
Yeah, we're just about 200, I suspect. But now they're in thousands,
They are in thousands. And so it's talking about expansion of legal education. So there's one proposal that open up by building more infrastructure. In fact, yesterday the Director of Legal Education was in Kumasi, where Otunfo has given land for the building of a new campus for the Ghana School of Law. That's happening. There's a campus at Gimpa, there's a campus at UPSA, then there's Makola, which is a traditional one. There's another view now that we are hearing from the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayine, which may suggest that we may not even need that kind of expansion, that the faculties are going to end up becoming the law school where people would be trained and then they go prepare for the bar exams. You are a lawyer in practice, and you also, I don't know if you've taught before in the law schools. I don't know what your view is about expansion in legal education. Should it be the approach we currently run, the bill that the minister is proposing? Is that the solution to all the issues? I don't know what's your view.
Thank you very much. I've had quite a number of interactions with very prominent people and very senior lawyers on this topic. And it's a delicate balance one has to draw in this matter. Not write off completely the current one and not also discount what we are about to do. So there must be a delicate balance. And I'm saying this because care must be taken in order not to churn out persons who, quote unquote, will be legal charlatans that will undo all that we've done over the years. I'm saying this because I've been privileged to be a member of the General Legal Council, and we reviewed certain faculties across the country. And some of the faculties, to be very honest with you, fell below expectation, even in running the LLB program.
Okay,
in terms of
even the fundamental.
Yes, even in terms of infrastructure, in terms of staff strength and qualification, in terms of student, how they get into the institution and all that. Because some of the faculties, to be very honest with you, all their intentions are actuated by money. And so if care is not taken, we will actually destroy the very foundation of legal education. And when you get that wrong, everything else will come crumbling. So I agree that we need to expand it, but we need to hasten slowly. If we have to say that faculties will be empowered to run professional law courses, then we have to caveat that and we give conditions that will qualify you to run it. Otherwise, if you open it up and say every faculty that has been licensed to run LLB should also be licensed to run the professional course, we may in a few years come back and bite our fingers hard and try to review it, probably belatedly. So I am advising that yes, it is good to expand it. It is good to decentralize. And it is good to have it as we have in other professional bodies. But there must be some regulatory regime that will ensure that quality is not compromised. Because if we churn out unqualified lawyers into the system to go and deal with people's lives, you are as well an accomplice to murder. Because those people will become so dangerous to society by the legal services they are providing. So quality mustn't be compromised at all.
But
I agree.
But when you argue the way you argue, there are people who say those of you who have become lawyers have made the profession a preserve for the few. You are conservative. You do not want to open the door for others to enter. And that the expansion is necessary because we don't have enough lawyers in the country, and that you are preventing people from becoming what they deserve.
Umaru, I have said it, that the expansion is very necessary. That is my actual preliminary remark. The expansion is necessary, but I'm saying that we should do so cautiously in order not to compromise the very integrity of the profession. That's the argument I'm making.
But doctors deal with human lives.
Yes.
Do we have the same restriction we have in training doctors like we have in training lawyers?
I think so, even if not stricter, because you see, people go out of the country and read medicine. When they come back, they go through rigorous processes before they are admitted.
They do licensure exams.
Absolutely. They do that. And that is meant to ensure that quality is not compromised. Look, Umaru, in our haste to train more lawyers, if we are not careful, I'm saying that we will regret and come and sit down and then try to review it and go back to older systems. So what I'm saying is that it is good. I support it. What the Attorney General is doing, I support it. But I'm saying that we must caveat it seriously by saying that each faculty that wants to run the professional course must meet a certain criteria by way of staff, library, accommodation of faculties, and etc. Everything. We must give very strict qualification criteria so that if you don't meet that, then your students who qualify can go and register in another institution that meets the qualification criteria to pursue.
I spoke to Ansasari. He says that even the lecturers should be made to be practicing lawyers and not necessarily someone who holds a master's in law or a PhD in law. A lecturer should be someone who has a practical knowledge. I don't know if you agree with that.
No, I think that is a very good argument he's making, and I support him. Sometimes we so much pay attention to academic credentials, to the neglect of the professional training that we are. I told you this morning that I have met people who got third class in the law faculty and who are lawyers par excellence today in our society. Far, far better than people who got a first class. So legal practice is one of a practical nature. It is not an academic exercise. So if we will have to ensure that there is quality, then there's nobody else who is more qualified to teach somebody to become a lawyer than the practitioner. If you want to be a very good medical doctor, you go and learn under a very good medical practitioner who has gone through everything. He has corrected himself and made some mistakes in the past. He knows what to do at each point in time and all that. That is very important. So if you go and then the qualification criteria is that go get master's degree or go get PhD before you come and you lecture in the law, and there's somebody who has first degree and professional law qualification with so many years experience and everything is at the fingertips. And when you ask him a question, he doesn't blink an eye, he just pours everything out. You leave that person out by virtue of caveating that he has no PhD or master's degree. Of course, you're not doing the profession any good. So the argument I keep making is that I agree with my very good senior, the Venerable Ansasari, that it is necessary to look at that again, because by and large, we are not training people to, as lawyers, they are not academics. They are professionals who ought to affect the daily lives of their clients and people. So we have to rethink. And let me state this, if it hasn't been clear and loud, that the expansion bit that you've spoken about, I support it. I support what the Attorney General is doing. But again, I'm saying that it ought to be done in such a way that it doesn't become omnibus and automatic, that any faculty that is running LLB will run the professional
so
course.
the draft bill, he says, will be taken to cabinet. Perhaps when it comes out in the public, we may see it.
And we will all make contributions.
Yeah, then you can
we will all make
input.
contributions.
But again, it means that there will be no Ghana School of Law. I don't know what that means. And because, so if you went outside Ghana,
I think the Ghana School of Law can remain. And this is how I see it. That it will be like when you have finished your LLB, you would decide not necessarily to continue in the school that you were in.
Yes.
So you can decide that, okay, I finished LLB, I'm going to Ghana School of Law. So the Ghana School of Law will still do the professional training.
That's what we have now, and that's where the problem is.
No, the person can, and at that time, because the faculties are many that are running this, the Ghana School of Law will not be able to do the restrictions they are doing now.
So Ghana School of Law becomes a competitor.
It will become a competitor.
So it will be the sole admitter.
But we are not going to have a body that will regulate the conduct of the exam.
Including the School of Law.
Yes, including the School of Law. And I believe where it also happens, the School of Law will introduce a new system where they will admit LLB students. Most likely, that's what I see. They are likely to now start admitting LLB students that they will train throughout.
So they become a faculty.
They will become a faculty, sort of.
Okay.
You know, because that's what I foresee. Otherwise, if you do it, and at the end you still allow the Ghana School of Law to superintend and dictate everything, as long as then it means that the decentralization you are talking about and the way you've tried to actually ensure that it spreads across board will be defeated.
There are members of society who think that lawyers are a problem. What do you say to such people?
They have to clarify that statement because it's too strong
they say,
in general.
They say everything is law, 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 law.
No, I think I agree. Immediately we lose it. If we decide that we are going to move out of law, then we are going to live in a society of men and might. And we know that we are going to retrogress 1,000 years backwards. No matter how benevolent a person who administers me or society is, he should not be allowed to do so in his discretion. He should be guided by rules and regulations. Otherwise, when he gets too excited that everybody is hailing him, he'll become a monster. And
now we talk about law, 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 and we heard that the law is the law. It's a general refrain people are using now, and it's in reference to the Chief Justice who has been suspended now. When you were Deputy AG, she was at the bench. She wasn't the Chief Justice at the time.
Yeah.
But after you left, she became the Chief Justice. The removal process of Chief Justices is stated in the Constitution. This government says, to the best of their knowledge and ability, they have followed the process. People from your party are saying that it is witch hunt. She herself has said she's not been treated fairly. You have been following the proceedings. What's your view on the impeachment process?
But let me state this today. I haven't commented on this Chief Justice's removal since it started, the process of her removal. But let me make this clear, Umaru. You can give fidelity to the law and yet create mischief.
Okay, explain that.
Now, if the Constitution gives a process and you follow the process through, you are abiding by the law. But you can, in the course of abiding by the law, use the law to do mischief. And let me give you an example. The removal of the Chief Justice. Umaru, did you follow the election of the Council of State member in Ashanti region?
I followed the election of the Council of State members nationwide.
No, I'm talking about Ashanti region. I want to draw your attention to something.
Go ahead.
In the Ashanti region, the first time they held the election, someone was elected. And there was a protest led by the regional minister and other people. Why? Because the person was said not to be a member of the National Democratic Congress. That's a fact. He was a known member of the New Patriotic Party. Somewhat, they got the results nullified and then organized a fresh election. And then the one who won the election was their choice. What does that tell you?
It tells you that you cannot bring foreigners to come and advise you.
Thank you very much. So, in the end, you have members of your party or those who sympathize with you who are members of the Council of State. Now, the law says that you refer it to them to determine whether there's a prima facie case. If I'm a president and I want the Chief Justice removed, I'll direct the Council of State that they should determine the prima facie and say that the person is has a question to answer. And once there are people who are my favorites...
Even though these are independently elected Council of State members?
Yes. Once there are people who are, I mean, accustomed to my side of the political divide.
Well, so 16 are elected and some are appointed.
Yes, I'm saying so, but I'm just telling you that the majority of them who are elected, in fact, all of them who are elected across the country, I can say without a shred of doubt that the 16 who were elected across the country are members of the National Democratic Congress, unless they want to.
And this is not the first time this happened.
It's not the first time. It has happened under MPP, it has happened under NDC. And then after His Excellency the President has the opportunity to appoint. The only place where his choices are limited is a constitutional injunction. For example, he has to appoint a former Chief Justice. So that one, he has no choice.
A former IGP,
a former IGP and all that. Go and check the former IGP he appointed. He was IGP under which regime? Go and check.
So you're drawing some connections.
Yes. Go and check.
So for you, the Council of State is a shadow of the governing party.
That is my opinion. Somebody can take me on, but that is my opinion. Over the years, that's what I see. People decide who should come and advise them. And I've never heard that.
But
I mean, you decide who should come and advise you.
It's not proper.
Look, let me tell you, if you want the best advice, take it from a mix of those who like you and those who dislike you.
So for instance,
But if it is a unanimous group that comes to praise, sing, and give you a chorus, then even if you are wrong, none of them will tell you are wrong. They will all say you are right.
So does your...
And remember that a former Chief Justice dissented. She even decided that she was not interested in it. So what I'm saying is that having gotten the Council of State to determine a prima facie case against the Chief Justice, now who is the one who nominates the members of the committee that is supposed to inquire into it?
The President.
So it comes back to the same thing.
So for
then
you...
the President goes ahead to nominate 2 justices of the Superior Court of the Supreme Court, one of whom the current the suspended Chief Justice says had sat on one of the cases that led to the, I mean, of course. And then one of them too, curiously, I don't know whether you detected that, there was supposed to be a motion that was supposed to be heard earlier. She was part of the panel. On the day of the motion, he wasn't there. Then, 2 days later, he was appointed into that committee, along with others. You know my good friend Nolle, he's a member. You know him.
He was Auditor General.
He was Auditor General. Who appointed him?
Independent-minded.
Who appointed him?
Who removed him?
So that's very well. I like that. I like both who appointed and who removed. Okay. I like both.
Okay.
Then you look at the others. So you look at the committee.
So
you think that, you see, because of the power given to the president to do these appointments, do you think the president, in all intent and purposes, will go and pick a vociferous critic of his, or somebody who's been taking him to the cleaners and make him a member of this committee? So it is not.
So you're essentially saying that what is happening is due process is a law.
Yes.
But there is a but.
Yes. That's my opinion. In fact, I have stated this time and again that I'm for following the fidelity of Article 146.
They are doing so.
But it is being used in a manner that has a lot of questions for us to answer as a
But you cannot kill it. It's a constitutional provision. It's been used in the past by your...
So that is why I'm saying that what we need to do as a nation. But remember even that the determination of prima facie was not done until the Supreme Court took a decision on it and said that because it was talking about any superior court, the Supreme Court judge, any Supreme Court judge, there must be a prima facie determination by the Chief Justice. Okay, upon the president receiving it and becoming a conveyor belt and all that. But it is not specifically stated what should happen in the case of removal of the Chief Justice. And so the Supreme Court decided that there should be a prima facie determination by the Council of State. And I'm saying that, look, you can give fidelity to the law and yet cause mischief. And I've said it to so many people, that the law can be used to cause mischief. And in this particular case, I've told you. So I think that we need to do a constitutional amendment and make it stricter. So
should we elect our Chief Justice?
Let me give you 2 examples. Look at how difficult it is to remove the president. And look at how difficult it is to remove the speaker. Not until recently, it was becoming like an impossible thing to have a particular party having 2/3 majority. So what it then means is that you elect the speaker, all right, but you cannot remove him because you don't have 2/3 majority, unless there's a bipartisan approach, in which case it is a unanimous decision by the 2 sides. That look, this person is very rare. So the removal of the speaker is near impossible. The removal of the president is near impossible. But when it comes to the removal of the Chief Justice, it's either beck and call
and
of the
other
president.
constitutional heads.
Yes. So we have not, and remember that we can do anything to the executive, we can do anything to parliament. But when we touch the judiciary, the very foundation of our democracy is gone. That's my opinion. So when we start playing politics with the judiciary, whether NPP or NDC, we start playing politics with the judiciary, that is the beginning of the end of Ghana.
This is Face to Face on Channel 1 TV. Joseph Kpemka, former Deputy Attorney General. We'll come back. I'll ask him now to comment on Nolle prosequi, which Dr. Dominic Ayine, who was once Deputy AG, holding this position, actually he took over from Dr. Dominic Ayine as Deputy AG, and now he is the boss, and he's decided something, and Kpemka's party is not happy with it. I'll ask him as a lawyer and as a former prosecutor whether what is happening is wrong or not. Please stay.
The Prosec Old Boys Association proudly presents Conversations Under the Baobab Tree 2.0, an Odadie National Dialogue. This year, we tackle a topic that touches every Ghanaian towards a holistic approach to agriculture in Ghana. Join us on Wednesday, 30th of July at exactly 6 p.m. at the EcoBank Head Office Auditorium. Come hear from one of Ghana's most celebrated farmers, Odadie James Boateng, 2018 National Best Farmer, delivering the keynote address. Meet the speakers, Odadie Professor Felix Ankoma Asante, Pro-Vice Chancellor of Research at the University of Ghana, Beacon Sheila Cornelius, Managing Director of Cornelius Farms and CEO of Lawn Naturals, Odadie Dr. Ernest Esiedu, Agricultural Transformation Specialist at IITA, Odadie Kwame Asaria Mwakohene, Managing Director of CTA Engineering Ghana Limited, and Odadie Dr. Henry Enim Sumwa, Director of Operations, Agromite Limited. Let's rally together under the Baobab Tree and chart a new course for Ghana's agricultural future. Powered by Channel 1 TV and proudly brought to you in partnership with EcoBank. For more information, visit www.odadie.net. Illuminatu videbimus lumen. In thy light, we shall see light. The general public is warmly invited. See you there.
You're welcome back. This is Face to Face on Channel 1 Television. Also, one of the difficult to pronounce Latin words that has been making the headlines is Nolle prosequi.
That is so.
I mean, you have learned it in school and you have practicalized it or practiced it as an Attorney General, and it is a prerogative only for the Attorney General, the Nolle prosequi. Dr. Dominic Ayine has done the same thing you people used to do or you people did in the past, and now hell is raining down. Why?
Well, let me first refer you to Act 30 of 1960. The Criminal Procedure Act, particularly Section 54 of the Act, which gives the Attorney General the power to enter what is known as Nolle prosequi. And when the effect of a Nolle prosequi when entered is that the accused person is discharged. Now, what it means is that, Umaru, it is not an end to the matter. When the Nolle prosequi is entered, it's not an end to the matter. It's a truncation. But the state can always come back at any time to reactivate that process and go on. But it's very rare that we find those situations. So the effect of a Nolle prosequi is that the accused person is discharged. And the discharge means go home, you are not acquitted. But go home. Anytime the government thinks that they want to go back with you to court, they can always do so.
Sometimes they arrest them immediately outside the court.
Sometimes too, it is as a result of faulty charges that have been preferred. So, or they want to take you somewhere else. They discharge you and then some guys are waiting for you at the corner there. Then they pick you up again. So the Nolle prosequi is actually that power that is given to the state, acting through the Attorney General, to say that for this particular matter, the state is not interested. And the law is couched in such a manner that it does not mandate the Attorney General to proffer any reason for his actions. So once he exercises it, that is the end of the matter. So I also indicated that the state can come back later and bring up charges against you. But there are certain circumstances where the effect of entry of Nolle prosequi may be an acquittal and discharge. For example, if the state has closed its case, and then sometimes you want to enter the nolle prosequi at that stage. Then the judge will say that, okay, once you have ended your case, the person has gone through trial and all that. The judge, some of the judges will exercise their discretion. Okay, then I'll acquit and discharge. Otherwise, the effect of it is just discharge. Now, the framers of the law, their wisdom was that, look, the president, who has the power of a prerogative of mercy, grant of pardon, and etc., which he exercises at his will, acting through the Attorney General, so also have the power to truncate trials, sometimes for national interest. But the framers were very careful, because some of the truncation, the reasons that could be given may infuriate the public. So the framers then were silent, that don't provide any reasons.
Just do it.
Just do it. The reasons you know. So if an Attorney General assumes office and decides that he's going to provide reasons.
In the spirit of transparency.
In the spirit of transparency, he's going to provide reasons for entry of nolle prosequi. Then he's caught by Section 296 of the Constitution.
Which says discretion.
The exercise of discretionary power, which must be in accord with Article 296. If that exercise of discretionary power is capricious, or it is having personal dislike and resentment against a particular person, interest, etc., then to that extent it's a nullity.
So the difficulty with Dominic Ayine's position is not because he has freed Dufour, but because he has explained.
Yes.
So the explanation now you are saying that is not sound.
Yes. So you see, let me tell you something. And I mean, he's one of the persons I must be honest with you, I have so much respect for him. And I rarely critique some of these things. But in this particular case, he gave himself out to the public, including me. If you give me opportunity to critique you, I will do it. Why not? If he had ended nolle prosequi in exercise of his power as Attorney General and left it at that, in compliance with Article 88 as the man in charge of criminal prosecutions, and then Section 54 of the Procedure Act and etc., I have nothing else to say. I'll just go home and sleep, because the law has given him that power. Okay. But immediately you provide reasons, then we have to interrogate those reasons.
Would you say he should stop?
And that is what has led to this.
Would you say he should stop explaining?
I think that it is, he says it is in the interest of good governance. But I think that the more you explain, the more you muddy the waters. Because what he has done, the reason he has given, it makes people to think that it has become an incentive to commit crime. Look, Umaru, if I know that when I steal 1 billion Ghana cedis, and I'm caught, and I'm able to refund 600 million Ghana cedis, I'll go home with the rest. Why not?
Yeah, but
it's a big motivation, isn't it?
But there's a view too that what he has done is actually mirrored already in the existing law, the act that we passed, which says that you can plead to be guilty to something, and then you pay the money and go home.
No, that's the plea bargain act. Yes. And I've stated time and again that its history is also from Section 35 of the Act, the Courts Act. It's very clear from Section 35 that you can plead guilty, and the court will then, sometimes not only the money, they can impose a fine in addition to the money you are alleged to have stolen or embezzled or caused financial loss to the state. You plead guilty. But remember that the effect of that one is that you are an ex-convict.
Okay. Because you've admitted guilt, but nolle prosequi you are not.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, when you plead guilty, then you then say you're taking advantage of Section 35 or the Plea Bargaining Act. Okay. What it means that we move a step forward and now say that there are consequential orders the judge will give.
What about the layman's view that, okay, they have brought Dr. Kwamna Dufour before court, he and some people. They say they want to prosecute and jail them. When they jail them, they will go to Nsawam. They may be given prerogative of mercy by the president. They will go home, free men, or they will save and will waste money on them. Now they have said that they will pay the money. Even if they are not paying everything, they are giving us some. Let's collect it and go home. What do you think of that?
Umaru, see, I'm saying that it is an incentive for people to go into white-collar crimes. They will use the pen tomorrow to do worse things. And I'm saying that we should not even argue about this. It's in error. Why? Because any exercise of discretionary power that will be to the detriment of the state ought not to be encouraged.
Okay.
Now, tomorrow, somebody commits a similar offense and pays 70%. You don't enter Nolle prosequi. Are you compliant with Article 296?
You're not.
You're not.
So there's precedent to guide you.
There's precedent. And that is the danger.
Okay.
Because it will mean that from now, based on the authority of the Republic versus Dufour and others, any attorney who comes, anybody who pays any amount can say that, look, I have done my best. I've paid 60%.
Yeah, let me
you
go.
did this for, and what is good for the goose is definitely good for
the. Talking about the
What
Ganda,
about that?
let's talk about the Ganda now. And the Ganda being your client, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, are you going to plead guilty so that you do a plea bargaining arrangement with the OSP because he's on your tail?
You see, I don't want to discuss the merits of the case.
Okay.
I can discuss that with you one-on-one outside of this program.
Okay.
But that case, just monitor it to the end. You report it live to the end and see the outcome. First of all, my client, I can say this because it's on record, and I know that it's not sub judice. In other words, it's not going to prejudice anything in court. Remember that my client pleaded not guilty to the counts against him, the 4 counts against him. He pleaded not guilty. So it is now incumbent on the SP to prove his guilt beyond reasonable doubt. And remember that he's facing 2 main charges of extortion and use of office for private gain. Go and read carefully Section 151 of the Criminal Offences Act and find out the ingredients of extortion, what it says. Using your office for private gain, go and find out. Go and read the case in which some people were prosecuted for extortion with respect to Asamoah Gyan and matter. Go and read it. See the ingredient that were set up and go and read that other matter. In fact, this matter is in public domain. Go and take the charges. Read them carefully and read the facts and try to reconcile them. I'm not judging anything. But at the end of the day, justice will be served. Because remember, I have stated without number that the Venerable Mustafa was initially hauled before the SP and he was being investigated for mismanagement and embezzlement of UPPF fund as Chief Executive Officer of MPA. But the charges now have nothing to do with that. He was cautioned on what I'm telling you, but the charges have absolutely nothing to do with mismanagement of UPPF fund. I even saw a very respected professor, a friend of mine, Azan, saying that we are praising Mustafa for actually increasing the fund from about 51 million he inherited in 2021 to over 1 billion. And that we are praising him. What is wrong is wrong. Even if he has done that, the money was supposed to be more. Okay. But that's not what the SP is saying. The SP is not saying that he dipped his hand into UPPF fund and took any money. He said he extorted money from OMCs.
Very well.
That's the charge.
We need to leave it here and wish you all the best in court. Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Umaru, I'm grateful. Thanks to your esteemed house and for the honor. We are partners in this matter.
I forgot to ask if you ran for Timpani again.
The time is not due. When the time is due, okay. When we get to the bridge, we shall cross.
When a politician says when we get to the bridge, we'll cross, it actually means he will cross the bridge, which means that he will run for Timpani.
Those are your words. Those are your words, no mine.
I am Umaru Sanda Amadu.
I issue disclaimer that I have not taken any decision.
Please, ignore his disclaimer. He will be running for Timpani. So MBP...
I issue disclaimer that I have not taken any decision about that.
Okay. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. This has been Face to Face. Thank you for watching us.